Serena, tee it up.
On today's show, we talk about the Bourbon Trail, senior pictures, and chasing dreams or dollars. We also have on guest Vince Soto, founder of Navigating Solutions, and our youngest listener, Lowell James.
Can't wait to hear from our youngest listener, Serena. Serena, guess who went on the Bourbon Trail?
Let me guess.
You're
Regina
right.
and the girls.
No. Well, I've been meaning to go forever, right? And
Yeah.
I joined that Maker's Mark ambassador thing 6 years ago, and they're like, "Hey, come on up this summer. Or your barrel's ready." And anyway, so my buddy was transitioning out. He was retiring out of the military after 30 years.
Awesome.
Adam. So I went to his retirement. I'm like, well, since I'm already going to be near his retirement, Tennessee, it'd be a great time to go to the Bourbon Trail.
Sure.
And it was a great time.
I saw you dipping it in the wax. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, they only let you get 9 bottles.
Only 9 bottles.
Well, it's funny because my wife's like, I thought you were going to fly up there. And in my mind, I'm like, how am I going to fly back with all this bourbon? I'm like, no, I rented a car. I said, it's just cheaper just to rent a car.
In 2022, is it cheaper really to rent a car?
Well,
Was it? I mean, I don't even know.
I didn't do it for that reason, so I don't know. I didn't even check on the plane prices. I loaded the back of that friggin' SUV up with bourbon from different places.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I mean, I saw all your pictures. They look great. My dad was like, what's Mike doing? What's Mike doing? I'm like, I don't, he's out partying, I guess.
Drinking. Well, though, I always wondered, do you need a designated driver on the Bourbon Trail? That was a question I had because that's going to be by myself. I'm like, do I Uber to all these places? But the reality is you just taste a small amount.
Yeah.
And it takes an hour and a half to do the tour, so you don't. But I got to go to 4 different breweries or distilleries, and I know how to make bourbon now. I'm not going to make it, but after 3 tours, I was like, okay, they're all the same.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I did learn a lot about bourbon. I learned a lot about the aging process. So, Serena, if you have any questions about bourbon, you just ask me.
I wish I liked it more, honestly.
I wish I liked it less. What about, did you do anything exciting last week?
No, not really. It's just, same old thing. It's like slow at work. It's getting slower at work, in the sense of like customers. It's, it's hot summertime months.
I didn't think about, see, I live down here at the beach season. So down here, things really ramp up.
Yeah.
In summertime.
Yeah. You get all the visitors.
Right.
And
so for you, it's slower.
It's the opposite. People are traveling and things like that. So that's welcomed, but also we're kind of catching up with all of the backlog of inventory that we didn't get in like December, January, February timeframe. And so that's been kind of hectic. But we're just, hanging out with the kids, trying to enjoy our house and our pool and with the kids. And we've got friends that are like family that just moved to Fort Riley. So they're in town this week. It's an easy trip, just less than 2 hours to come up here. And we're just hanging out. Now it's like, I feel like I'm chilling out and,
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's a good life. I got the boat and I thought, man, I'm going to be out on this thing all the time. And every day I want to.
Yeah.
But I've only been out 3 times, but like every day I'm like, okay, we need to take the boat out tomorrow or the next day or this weekend.
Right. Hey, hold on. I have a guest that needs to come on the show.
What?
Come here.
I'm ready.
Come here, buddy. Okay. So this is my little friend and he saw us on YouTube.
Oh, hey, how are you? Welcome to the show.
He's saying hi. You want to put my headphones on?
Put the headphones on. What's his name?
He wants to talk to you. His name is Lowell James.
Lowell James? Hey, Lowell James. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, welcome to Diapers and Deployments, the podcast. What do you think about this?
Good.
Hey, do you think your mom and dad are going to sign a waiver so I don't go to jail for having you on without their permission? No? Okay, good. I'm just kidding. I'm glad to have you on. I think you're going to see yourself on YouTube.
He got into the house. Like he came to the house on Saturday and he's like, Aunt Serena, I saw you on YouTube. And I'm like, you did? And he's like, yeah. And I said, what was I doing? And he said, you were laughing.
Well, I asked him if his parents were going to sue me when I put him on YouTube without their permission.
No, they won't.
Okay, good. You heard it here. You heard it here, lawyers. Well, we have our next guest. We have a long interview, and I say we get to it. He's got a lot to share. So, Serena, let's, you know what? Let's catch up on the next episode about life and what's been going on, because I think we need to do about 20 minutes on just catching up with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Serena, you got a guest to introduce.
I do. Today we have Vince Soto, and he is the founder of a nonprofit called Navigating Solutions. Welcome, Vince.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much, Serena and Michael. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, I got my question right off the back is that we have to call you doctor or what?
Nah, not at all. It's almost been a year and I'm still just not used to it. Every time somebody says that, just call me Vince. It's okay. That's what I'm used to going by. So it's just
so everyone knows Vince was a corpsman in the Navy, right? And everyone calls them Doc, but you have a PhD.
I do.
So
I
you're
do.
double doc.
A double doc. A doc with a PhD.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Well, I met you at Camp Lejeune when I was, I guess it's Medical Forces Atlantic Master Chief. That's what it's called now. But I told Vince before you got on here, Serena, that when I went to someplace more than once, there was problems, right? If I just showed up once, it was to shake hands and say hi. And Vincent, I was at Camp Lejeune a lot.
Yeah, I would I would go to these Chiefs meetings and I'd be like, he's here again, like he's got some miles, he's putting on some miles there.
Well, I got to be honest though. I like the yacht club down there, bar. So I found a reason.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you were playing the system there. You were finding an excuse to go. Yeah, you.
I love that place. It was so awesome. Hey, Serena, I never went to jail. All right. All right. We got to get back to Vincent. All right. So tell us a little bit about what your company does and how you're helping our veteran community.
Well, Navigating Solutions, a nonprofit. And, when I started to think about developing or starting this nonprofit, I really started to ask myself, are there too many, nonprofits helping veterans in the community? And I think that me asking the question was telling me, hey, I don't think there's ever too many helping veterans, military families in our community. So I did it, and I wanted to be a little different than less formal, help on the spot type. We don't have any long forms to fill out, like Mike, and we established some folks, navigators to instantly help people out. I may just have a question, a service member may just have an issue they're working through and they just want to answer a question. And I didn't want them to have to fill out a long form to have somebody then get back to them. They can simply link with a person, one of our navigators, to get back with them. Just shoot them an email, shoot them a message on LinkedIn, which they have their information there. And just how can we really get down, to where the issues truly lie. And if you need, some assistance, maybe we can help you. I like to call us the connector, right? And we're not afraid to say, hey, we know, we may not be able to help you, but we know who can, right? And we try to connect, service members, veterans, military spouses, military connected personnel to the right resource. And then, besides that, I do a lot working with the Department of Labor during transition workshops. I think that's where I truly enjoy the most, having the impact of transitioning service members in, the transition workshops and being able to really enforce the fact of reality, right? Reality of transitioning from the military, especially when I'm teaching and much older crowd of retirees or them not understanding or not realizing. And sometimes I have to tell them, hey, you've been a service member longer than you've been a civilian, so you're stepping out to a world that some of us know nothing about. After spending 26 years in the military, what did I know about being a civilian, going to work every day and dealing with payroll. I will tell you, my first job, this wasn't my first, career move. When I got out, I originally worked. I did not want to go into healthcare.
Right.
I did not.
Me
But I'll
either.
tell you what, my first job, I worked for DaVita Dialysis. Right. And and I hated every single day of work.
You didn't go
Yeah.
in singing Davida lost it. No, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. And it was just painful for me to go into an organization every day like that and realize this is not what I wanted to do. I always had a passion in education and training, and that's where my background is, in education and training, and I loved it, and I wanted to do that, continue that with service members. And after I spent a little over a year with DaVita, I made my move. I said I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to be afraid, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I did it. I made that move to do what I really love to do, what I had a passion in doing.
Well, that's awesome, man. I always said when I got out, I did not want a job that was too jobby.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so I have yet to go to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Since I got out, because I was the same way, man. I didn't want to go to a job I hated.
Right,
I didn't want to work just for money.
right.
You spend that long, you spend your life inside the military, and when you get out, you have some freedom to do what you want. But I was on the panel of a lot of those transitioning classes, and a
Hmm.
lot of the questions are the same.
Yeah,
And fear is there, no matter if you're retiring or you spent 4 years, because you have been in a system, like you said, all
right.
those years, and you have this. They have the same questions and they have the same fears. And Serena's husband got out about a year and a half ago now, and she went through this transition, and they had the
Yeah,
same questions and the same fears. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hard time.
But he
yeah,
fell into the statistic that's so big of, going into a job just for the money at
yeah,
first. And then he took his time and found something that he's really enjoying
yeah,
doing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
because he was like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I mean, I know what I don't want to do, but
Hmm.
I kind of know what I want to do, but I don't know if that's there. And
Right.
then he thought he knew what he wanted to do. And then he's like, no, I don't like this.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said that he said, I don't know if that's there.
Yeah.
Right. So and I find that to be common,
Mhm.
right? Because as we're in the military for so long, the military puts blinders on us, right?
do.
And because they want us to focus on mission and our job, our specific job, our rating, our MOS, whatever it is. So that they put these blinders on us. So when we're transitioning, we still have these blinders, right? Not really knowing what we can truly do in the civilian world. We have all these skills that relate to so many other things.
Sure.
And we don't know that those things exist because we keep these blinders on. And that's one of the things I say in my class. If it's a 3-day class, I say, I hope by the end of this class, I'm able to remove the blinders for you so that you can see all the opportunities that are out there for you, that you may not think that are there, and they are. And as you start to look, based upon your skill set, you'd be amazed about some of the transitions people make into jobs they didn't even think that existed, months ago.
Sure. I mean, he just came home like last week telling me about a position that's opening up at the company he works for now. And it's like somebody's, like planning projects. And he's like, I used to do that kind of stuff like as a first class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right. And this is somebody above you that's doing it. Like, that's wild to think, I'm like, in the military, you were like, go plan this. And here, this is somebody that's on a pedestal, planning these things. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, in the military, you just have to go do it. There's no degree for it, right?
Yeah.
right.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you say this to guys, but for me, I always said you had to chase your dream, chase the money, or chase a location, but you got to pick one. If you all three line up, that's perfect, right? But
Mhm.
it's overwhelming if you don't pick one of those things, especially the geography part. If you're willing to go anywhere just for money, that's easy. But if you want to be in a certain place, and that is the most important thing, then you have to set your goals to that location and set your expectations to that location.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get paid $200,000 in the middle of West Virginia somewhere. But in DC, you can make 200 grand all day.
Yeah.
But I ain't moving to DC.
Right. Yeah. We were very, picked a location. So that was, a stump for us. But I mean, here we are, we're good. It all worked out, but it took time.
Well,
Yeah.
Sure.
you guys had that anchor location, so that's a
Mm.
piece that a lot of people don't have. That actually helped you, and you just don't know it. I think.
I mean, maybe so, because I think once you set your sights on the one place, then you can really
Yes.
start broadening
Mhm.
that circle within the metro,
Yeah.
the area, and kind of
Yeah.
thankful. I
Yeah.
mean, God bless, it worked. I feel
Yeah.
very
We,
lucky.
after transition, I was in I stayed in the Camp Lejeune, Jacksonville, Richlands area of North Carolina for maybe about a year and a half. And then once we kind of made our move to happiness, right? Um, I literally one day I looked at, my wife and I said, let's make that move. She says, to Florida. And I said, yeah, to Florida. Let's do it. And she thought I was playing at first. And she thought I was really
Till a
playing.
moving truck showed up.
Yeah, yeah. We came down to Florida on a visit. We saw a house that we liked, and we rented at first before we purchased. But I think she was still shocked when we were like putting stuff in the moving van. Like, we're really making this move. Yes, we are. We're gonna do. We're kind of gonna follow where you want to go. So she had taken a year off her job.
Uh-huh.
When we moved to Florida, she went back to the same organization,
That's
working
awesome.
in Florida. So it was an awesome mix. And even our story, she's walking out right now. But here is I met my wife in junior high school.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
think I was 13. She was 14.
Aw.
We went up to an annex, and then we separated. We went to two different high schools,
Uh-huh.
right? So we separated. We were in a school where the school was, I guess, reformatting. So in New York, that school was. She was in ninth grade. I was in eighth grade. It was going to be the last ninth grade class. So we both went to high school. As I went in the ninth grade, she went in the 10th grade. But we separated. I went to a high school much further away. Even though we didn't live too far away, we didn't see each other anymore. Always kind of thought about it. That one that kind of got away, kind of when you were small, you still have feelings for.
Well,
And I will tell you, one day, I could not remember her last name. I could not remember her last name to save my life. And then one day I woke up and I was like, Pagan. Her last name is Pagan. And it's been like, I still remember it was a Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving. I messaged her, I friend requested her on social media, Facebook, right? She's
Right.
got to be on Facebook.
everybody is.
Right.
Everybody is, yeah.
What I did was I found her brother first, who I was good friends with at the time, before. And then I connected the pieces, found her and shot her a message. And
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I'm going
That's
to tell you
cool.
right now that your story of connecting with an old flame on Facebook ends much better than most.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been really running. We've been through our ups and downs and stuff like
Everybody,
that. Just
yeah.
just life,
Yeah.
life in
Yeah.
general. But we're loving it. We're absolutely
awesome.
loving it. I think we're doing, our passion. She's an administrator, right? She loves Excel. She's a
Oh
master.
Lord.
Oh my
She is
gosh.
a matter of fact, she's doing this analytical functions of Excel class right now, but she loves Excel. And so she does my Excel spreadsheets and, all that record keeping stuff, for the organization and
That's
stuff like
awesome.
that. So when you can find a person like that,
Yeah. Well, and
you know,
you have 7 kids as well.
we do. So we
So,
do. So they were much older when we met. I got I got a senior right now. And
Wow.
me
so
too.
we just took pictures. She just took senior pictures today. And man, my last senior, we took that price, when I looked at the prices of those pictures, I was, as she's taking more and more poses, I'm looking at the prices of the packages, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm like, it's just every year. And then, she has a son a year behind my daughter, and he's a junior. So I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh.
well, next year it's going to be horrible, with the price
Oh, yeah.
increase, So I was just like, man, but, I'm like, hey, it's just senior year. You got to go out in the bang. And I told, I had a conversation with my daughter today. Hey, this is your last year in high school. You gotta have fun. You
Yeah.
got to do what you're supposed to do, but you got to have fun, so.
Well, I haven't even thought about pictures yet. My daughter's going into high school. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode. I'm going to tell her, maybe we wait till December or January.
Yeah. So,
I
that,
remember taking them.
yeah. And,
Oh, Serena, I want
she's,
one.
I have
Yeah.
one sitting right here on the floor.
Oh,
Actually,
oh, you're going to have to show us that.
I will. I'll show you.
Yeah.
It's sitting on the
yeah.
floor.
Hey,
Actually,
go ahead.
we were on actually, this week. We talk about different organizations. She was on Vets to Industry.
Oh,
Okay.
All this week looking up scholarships. They have a section with scholarships. You can go down and it'll say spouse or dependent. You click on dependent, and I mean it must be 7 pages of scholarships that she's
Wow.
kind of listing right now that she's going to apply for. Which
Good.
ones that she's going to apply for, so she can alleviate some cost.
Yeah.
That we have. Although she's good. She's just looking at general scholarships
Right.
that'll help her financially. Whatever she wants to do as far as that, because tuition is pretty much paid for. So that's as far as connecting, that's a great organization. That's the industry that we often partner with a lot. I just did they have their networking events once a month.
I've
I
been to
just
a couple of those.
Yeah, so I did one 2 weeks ago, maybe. So I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker there. So awesome opportunity, awesome program.
So I have a question about navigating solutions. Is it more for somebody who's already a veteran, like already out of the service, or is this something that, maybe somebody wouldn't start looking into as they are about to transition out of the military?
We do both.
Okay.
What's crazy is, somebody will be talking to me and somebody will say, hey, my friend has a problem. And sometimes, to be honest, Serena, sometimes I don't even care if it's a veteran,
Yeah.
right? And if I can help them within the civilian workforce to get a job, any possible way, even if it's rewriting their resumes, because there's a lot of things that even if you go to a civilian resume writer or have them help you, it's a lot of things they won't tell you about, or they don't know themselves.
Sure.
Right, about different things. And I was just talking to another organization that I'm going to be doing some speaking with that talking about resumes. And I was like, hey, when you write your resumes, do you talk about applicant tracking systems? And they kind of gave me this blank stare and yeah, okay, cool. So let's talk about that. Right. And, Serena, I will help anybody. Right. And
great.
I will prioritize veterans and transitioning service members, but I will help anybody, because this is especially this year, right? And actually the last couple of years, I tell transitioning service members, you're not getting out at a good time.
Yeah.
You're not, maybe there are opportunities for jobs, but man, the housing market and, go stepping into that. And that's another thing in the military, we're blind to that.
Sure.
We're blind. It's not happening to us out there, so
I'm going to tell you, it's happening now. And here's a great example. Pensacola, I'll use. They're sending people to Pensacola to be stationed there. Right? And you get stationed everywhere, but there's no housing for them. So they get there and they're faced with the same problem. BAH has not went up. Inflation has. The past year has been horrible. So you take your standard E4 that gets moved to Pensacola, they can't find a place to live.
Right.
I
San
can't even,
Diego.
it makes me sick, honestly, thinking of it, because even as E7s with a good BAH, we had such a hard time.
Yes.
And I'm like, how are people doing it? And Washington, we just came from Washington State, where there is no housing, and they just keep bringing in ships and bringing in ships. And I'm like, these people have nowhere to go.
Right. I'll tell you a quick story. So we live in a new build that we purchased. We moved in this past November, but we purchased about a year because of different delays. It took us about a year. So when we moved in November, this past November, right? And in I would say February, right? We had a little flags out there and a little sign that says DR Horton, homes starting at low 300s.
Uh-huh.
In February, those construction workers or those workers out removed that sign and put up a new sign that said starting at low 400s.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, like you talk about timing
Yeah.
and,
Perfect. Yeah.
things going up so fast. And, I don't know how, and that's what I tell my class is reality. Let's talk about reality, what you're truly about to face, as you step out, right? And the military has been taking care of these things for so long. The same military that you thought was so bad as you're transitioning, right? You're going to see how spoiled you were,
Yes.
right, as you're getting out. And I'll tell, look, I'm retired, right, and we still got a little connection. my
Sure.
my healthcare isn't that high.
Yeah.
When civilians have healthcare conversations, I walk away.
I do too.
Me
I
too. Yeah.
I do too. I feel so,
yes.
and we shouldn't feel terrible because you guys served and you put in the time and the work and you did all of that. But we just had this
Yeah.
discussion at dinner a couple nights ago, and my husband and I were just like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can't say anything.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
someone did say, "Oh, you guys probably still have TRICARE," and I'm like, "Yes, but we
Yes, we
pay.
do.
We pay now."
Yeah.
But I didn't tell them how much because they would have.
Exactly, and we get, as a retired serviceman, you get a paycheck, but that transitioning service member that's a separatee,
Yeah. They don't get that.
man.
Nothing.
People,
Man.
I run across people that they think, oh, you're in the military, you have TRICARE and you're medical for life. I'm like, no, these people that get out at the 4-year mark,
They have nothing.
they
Nothing.
have nothing.
They
don't
just quit a
have it.
job.
Yeah.
That's it. They just quit a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they weren't like savvy in the sense of having like a thrift savings plan and things
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
some of them are just literally stopping a paycheck and
Yep.
getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I think is terrifying.
So yeah, and
Right
that's
now.
what I I try to preach that, one, as you're transitioning, and I was down at Camp Lejeune last week actually, and some of the guys, they don't think that they have a skill set, especially the Marines that are maybe infantrymen, and they've got this plan, but it's really a long-term plan, and it's not something now. And I tell them, hey, use a program like Troops into Transportation, where you can get your commercial driver's license,
Mhm.
right, prior to you separating, and at least you have a kind of like, with the transportation industry, it's an essential
Yes.
industry, right? At least you have something to fall back on, right? With a commercial driver's license, you have some work, right? You have a job, right? And that you can go into to you work on your long-term goal or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But that commercial driver's license is essential to the industry. It's essential to the workforce.
Mhm.
We know that, and it's still a shortage. So I tell people, we've learned the last 2 years that you've got to have that job that's essential.
Yeah.
That you need, if it's healthcare, transportation, education, public safety, the trade infrastructure, the trade industry, those things that keep America moving, right? That you have to have.
Well, VOTEC is back, right?
Hmm.
They did away with, and we preached college to these
Yep.
kids for 20 years, and they went and got liberal arts degrees, and they can't get a job at McDonald's, right? But
Hmm.
if you're a plumber, if you're a welder, your ass is going to get a job,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Because they need you. And even here in Baldwin County, where I live, they're bringing vocational school back finally.
Hmm.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And a lot of these schools, like there's a Marine school up here, they will pay you to go get a skill. They pay you to come
Mhm.
there. Right?
That's
You just
awesome.
owe them time at the end because there's such a skill shortage.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
saw this coming, right?
Yep. And we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything about it.
Nope. It's and there's all these jobs and not folks that are no qualified folks for the jobs.
Well, and that's where veterans come in.
Yeah.
At Skill Mill, we help a lot of veterans get jobs, and the employers are who I talk to mostly
Mhm.
about this, and they're looking for veterans. They
Right.
know, and it's the intangibles, right? They talk about the intangibles to me. I'm not preaching it to them. They know about the leadership. They know
Hmm.
about the discipline. They know that the little things like, oh, they're going to show up to work tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's not normal, believe it or not. That's one thing military veterans have that in the civilian workforce. I'm not all right. I don't want to
Hmm.
generalize, but people call out a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's nothing to miss a shift. My
Right.
Yeah.
kids, my 16-year-old doesn't miss a shift unless it's something bad, right? My 23-year-old doesn't. They weren't raised that way.
Right.
But so they're different. But man, they love hiring veterans. People
Yeah.
love hiring veterans.
Yeah, they understand the value of a veteran that they bring to the organization. And I say a veteran is a person with, let's say a certain skill set, but you walk around with this virtual tool bag that you can reach in and grab that skill set out whenever you need it, whether it's project management, whether it's process improvement, whether it's whatever it is. I would bet that you have done it as a veteran, that specific skill set. And some of them don't realize the skills that they have that are transferable to the civilian workforce, until they take off those blinders to really see what they can do in the civilian workforce. They kind of miss opportunities.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, just teaching them to narrow their focus is hard.
Hmm.
It's hard for me, and I have businesses, but sometimes I get starry eyed. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I want to do this for that, right? I think everyone does that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I will tell you some of the programs we don't know of or veterans don't know of. And certain the Department of Labor just started this year in 2022. They started a program called OBTT. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's called off
No.
base trend. It's off base transition training. It's those folks that don't those veterans and military spouses that don't have access to to a base, right? So they may not be next to one, or they haven't gotten their, let's say, veterans card and stuff like that. But they can. There are certain cities that are piloting: Boston, Philadelphia, San Diego, I think Dallas is piloting these OBTT, and we're going out to American job centers
Uh-huh.
and we're holding those same transition workshops, understanding a resume, networking, and all those shops. We're doing it for the veteran at that American Job Center.
That's
So
awesome.
it's piloting through this year. Matter of fact, I'll be in Boston next week doing that very same course in Boston. So it's piloting through this year, and I think it'll really hit and expand. After this year, they'll look at it and say, okay, we can go and make it a permanent thing. So
So
That's awesome.
yeah, so basically it's job sites, and they do seminars and for
yeah.
spouses and military members.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Any military person, any veteran that doesn't have a connection or cannot, let's say, don't have a base next to them, or don't have access to the base, even whatever type of veteran you can think of, even let's say um, uh, veterans with records, felons and stuff like that, they can still use that program. It is geared to help all veterans and military, spouses as well.
That's great.
So
Yeah,
That's
I never
awesome.
heard of it before. Look at that,
yeah.
Serena. We learned some more stuff.
Always.
Yeah.
We always learn something with that.
I'm currently piloting. They're coming out. They're redoing the curriculum to the employment side of the house, the Department of Labor employment side. So, piloting employment fundamentals, career transition, the Department of Labor employment workshop, and those are the only two they're piloting. So, January 2023, transitioning service members will get a new curriculum for the employment workshops.
Good, because the current one sucks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? To be honest, it's what you put in it too. A
Right.
lot of these service members go there and they sit there for 3 or 4 days because they
Yeah.
have to, and they don't take notes.
Yeah.
And at the end, they wonder what they missed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
You know.
you have to do your work. You go to those workshops and they give you some information, but you got to do your
Mhm.
own research.
Mhm.
Yeah. It takes work to find work. You know.
Sure.
You know.
Oh, that's one of the things I remember. They said to hunt for a job is a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And 80% of the jobs you get are through networking, right? So your reputation goes a hell of a long way.
absolutely, you are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It's it's a crazy time. It's just you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Sometimes I'm like, man, am I gonna wake up tomorrow and this all goes away?
You never know, right?
Or what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I always try to put my best foot forward. And we'll figure out the rest when it comes, right? And
Well,
so
the Department of Labor may need that money for baby formula.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They redistribute, right, programs to so I don't know if you noticed. So this year with cool program, right? I don't know if you've seen that the Navy, the Marine Corps ran out of funds for cool program, and we're talking about it's June this year. They ran out like in March.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Apparently, yeah. So apparently they redistributed funds, and they took away from the education and training portion. So cool, they weren't allowed to do cool unless it directly aligned with their rating.
Huh. Well,
So
maybe they needed to put some classes on in
yeah,
overseas or something.
yeah, something, something, and where the Army and the Air Force still has funds going on, and that's a program that I don't understand. Why isn't it the same across the board, right?
I don't either. The Navy, I'm
And
going to tell you, the Navy, when it comes to the Army and the Navy, and I love the Navy, but the Army does so much better
yeah,
with helping their service members transition. The
yeah,
Navy is horrible at it. Look no further than the DD 214 issue we have right now.
right. Oh my God, I can't believe that.
I
Uh,
can't
What's
believe it
happening?
either. That sailors are not getting DD 214s on their way out the door because they're behind. So listen, it says that you have to get one before you get out of the military, right? It's
Yeah.
law.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
it's
And
not.
no one's holding them accountable. Now, when you don't have a DD 214, you don't get benefits.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
lose your GI Bill. You can't
Hmm.
hunt for a job like the GS jobs. You're not getting shit. You're not getting your
Yeah,
pay when you retire.
When
Uh,
did this start?
this started about
it's
2 years ago.
yeah, it's been yeah.
Oh,
It's so I've seen some people. I just had a retiring senior chief. Took her 4 months to get her DD 214.
So she didn't get paid, right?
Yeah,
No.
4 months. Four
So
months.
so that is no way to treat someone after they
Yeah,
serve their country. That's no way to
wow.
treat someone no matter what. But you can't hold someone's pay hostage because
yeah,
your admin system is broken.
yeah. And exactly, it's broken, and
Could
I'm
you
not.
imagine if we owed the Navy money?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You'd
They
be
Well,
can.
eating garbage out of the trash.
well, and you talk about transitions already a pretty stressful time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's one of the most stressful times of your life entering the
Yeah.
military, like unless combat and things like that, but like normal
Yeah,
stressors. Um, and then you add on top of that, hey honey, we may not get paid for 4 months
yeah,
or longer.
yeah,
Yeah, I've written a blog on it. I've sent emails to the right people. I thought I've blasted the MCPON. Nothing. No one's doing a damn thing about it.
yeah.
So
So it's
Terrible.
unbelievable as you transition
it
what
is it is
you know.
unbelievable that this is not fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got a simple solution. Like anytime a sailor gets out of your command without a DD 214, then the CO should send a letter straight to the CNO telling them the reason why.
Mhm.
That problem would be fixed overnight, I bet you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because that CO does not want to send that letter.
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so,
And
well,
it's
look at us. We got mad. Look at that.
that's what I'll tell you. I love being a retired service member.
Me
All
too.
right, it's beautiful, and now I understand the shine that retired service members have on them. As I was active duty, I would say, "Man, you seem awfully happy." As the retirees, and they're like, "Man, Vince, wait till you get to this side,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not understanding. I was like, "What do you mean? Wait till I get to that side? I'm not retiring yet, But really, all the stressors that you have,
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, and
uh,
that you deal with, you
it's like
know.
the day I got out, it's like I put a weight down
Mm,
that I never knew I was carrying.
Mhm.
right? You're just used to that stressful lifestyle. And when you get out after that transition part, which is
Yeah.
the last stressor, no, you really feel good, unless you're not
Hmm.
getting paid. But after that, you probably feel good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, we got way sidetracked, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share with us before we let you go? I mean, we appreciate you coming on. We really,
Tell
really do.
tell our listeners where to go
Oh yeah,
to get
not to hell, Serena.
all aboard.
Choo choo.
Yeah, we have a website. It's called navigatingsolutions.org.
Okay.
And I'm really proudful of our that page because we have a resource page. And my wife, she said, why don't you take stuff off of there? Because you have to wait a minute, right? When you press resource, wait a minute, because it's trying to load 400 resources,
I have to
right?
admit, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get it to load, and I'm like, does this not work? I'm not even
Yeah.
joking.
So it takes a minute to load like these resources because there's like 400. I think we were able to put like before it crashed, like 404 resources that are hyperlinked. All you got to do is hit it and it'll take you
Right.
to the site. Even I want to say I'm pretty sure I have Skill Mill on there as well.
Yeah. Well, you should.
So
We're awesome.
I'm
uh,
trying to get it to
yeah.
load, and I can't yet.
It's gonna load, I promise you. But it just takes a little bit. But I love it because my wife says, "Well, take some off," and I'm like, "No, I'm not taking them off." Right, and they can wait a little bit, right, and then scroll through. But we do that. I put out, if you go to the website and go to our store, I put out a couple of months ago. Has it been a couple of months ago? I put out a short book, a little book about working under pressure and kind of being at your best, when it matters, kind of just helping, people in stressful environments, as we all work, especially those that don't like going to work or don't like going to the place they go to, every day, right? And I was definitely one of those people that transitioned into a job that I did not understand coming out of the military, for-profit business,
Right.
right? And, in the healthcare world, it was all about insurance,
I know.
right? And I could not do that. I just didn't have that. My standards wouldn't allow me to take one patient over another patient because of insurance.
That's
that
because you're a
sad?
good person.
I could not, and I would come back home to my wife every day, and I was like, I cannot put this person on the waiting list when this person needs dialysis treatment just as much as this person,
Yeah.
right? And not even, and they need it more, right? Because they don't have the access, and because they have Medicaid, Medicare, and this person has private insurance. And I really started to understand the insurance business, and I was like, man, this is a racket. And
It
this company's making billions off of insurance, off of a treatment, of dialysis. Somebody's coming there 3 times a week. Their insurance is pushing out $1,200 a treatment, private insurance, while Medicaid, Medicare, by the time everything's done, you're getting $17, you know,
yeah, I
you
know.
know, so it's I wrote this book really talking about the pressures of, work and how do we perform better, just kind of having a mindfulness of your mental fatigue, and just taking a break sometimes, or, just realizing that sometimes it really draws on you.
Well, we said it before, your dream and your passion. And,
Yeah.
I just took a few months off, not totally off, but just I stepped back for a few months, right?
Mhm.
Because I felt that mental fatigue. When you're older, you realize it more than when you're younger. In the military, you can push through it, but now,
You're
my
really
civilian life,
old.
yeah, I'm really old now. Hey, the mind is a muscle, and I've worked mine to death. My wife would disagree. I still do
I,
stupid shit for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through these resources. I did see Skill Mill, but this is unbelievable. This is really cool.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I want you to try something, Vince.
Mhm.
load up a resume for you on Skill Mill, right? Not right now, but
Okay.
and then when you go to hit print on your resume, so what a service member can do now on Skill Mill, they can
Okay.
go in and build a profile. They can put as many things as they want in their profile, but when they go to hit print, if they want to highlight certain skills, they just highlight those. The rest of them won't print. So you can build 5, 6, 7 resumes, whatever you need, off of one profile. So,
Okay.
they're always saying you need this many resumes.
Yeah.
Well, you can put all of your jobs. You can even put the same job in twice and put a different description, because maybe you want to highlight your administrative skills here, and the other one you're like, I'm looking for a project management job. I want to highlight
Right.
that. So when you go to hit print, you're like, I want to highlight project management, this, that. I don't need anything past 5 years ago. I'm not going to do that. I don't want them to see my picture, or I do want them
Okay.
to see my picture. And you print out your resume, and then you can be like, okay, I'm going to print a different one now for a different company. Oh, you want this, this,
Got
and
it.
this. No
Got
one
it.
else, no
Got
one
it.
else
Got
does
it.
that.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a new feature we
Okay.
have,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I got tired of taking my resume and editing it and print.
Right.
Right.
So we had our new
Right.
office.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I might, you know what I'm gonna do, Mike? When I'm, let me see, not the OBT. I think where am I? I got that San Diego, but in July, I think I'm really going to some good bases. What I'd like to do is what I like to do often is zoom and even organization in. So I'd love to zoom you into a class
oh
and
yeah,
really share with them, what Skill Mill has to offer them.
yeah, I can show them how to upload their VMet and show them
Yep.
how to print different resumes. Yeah, I love. I'm a Zoom expert. You know that.
Yeah.
I look way better on the radio than on Zoom, though. I got to tell you.
Zoom.
Zoom. Hey, do I have to put a tie on?
No, not at all. Not
Woo!
at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't even have to put pants on to do a podcast.
Don't stand up.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, I am guilty of having a tie on and shorts during the week. All right, well, we're going to let you go, man. Hey,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you for coming on, man. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yes,
Thank you.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Same
for
here,
tuning in,
Serena.
and we really enjoyed you. I'm going to stop the recording and stand by for a minute so we can talk.
Okay.
Serena, did you learn anything?
I did.
It's not hard for me to learn stuff. I don't know
Shocker.
shit, turns out.
Yeah, right.
Every time we have someone on, I'm like, how can I not know all these things?
I know. Hey, I'm on their resources page right now. I've
Uh-huh.
got it pulled up. It is so many. And it links you right to right to the page for whatever it is. And they're even time stamped, like maybe how good some of these resources are, like if they have an expiration
Mhm.
or whatever. It's really cool. So I think our listeners would be doing themselves a favor by going to navigatingsolutions.org and checking out this resources link.
Resources.
Resources.
Serena, did you start the drink of the week early?
So I have friends in town, and
Oh, okay.
yes, I feel like we just haven't stopped.
Well, we could just transition right in then. What are you drinking today?
Well, I am like 5 deep in quirks, my Boulevard quirks that I love.
Quirks. What is that? I forgot.
It's like a seltzer, but it's by
Oh.
Boulevard Brewery that's local here to Kansas City.
Oh
that I
yeah,
always-
the ones that you said you were going to bring on, but you haven't.
yeah, they don't want to come to see us.
Man, that's bullshit. Oh, I'm just doing some Maker's Mark. You can't go wrong with Maker's Mark.
No, you cannot.
It's a nice, easy week, Serena.
It is an easy week.